Hi everyone, I'm Daniela and I'm basic. So today we're making a pumpkin loaf with a crumble topping. So grab yourself a pumpkin spice latte and let's make it.
Start by buttering and flouring your loaf tins. I'm using 2 1-pound loaf tins, but you can use 1 2-pound loaf tin for this recipe. Make sure to tip out any excess flour.
Preheat your oven to 160 degrees Celsius or 325 degrees Fahrenheit.
To your bowl, add 170 grams, 3/4 cups of soft butter. I'm going to break mine down just a little bit with my whisk. To the butter, add 400 grams, 2 cups of granulated sugar. And now I'm going to switch to a spatula because it's a little bit easier to work with. You can even get in there with your hands if you like. Once the butter and sugar are combined, add 2 eggs to the mix. Now I'll switch back to my whisk and give it a good mix and add in 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of vanilla. Then stir to combine. Time for the star ingredient. You want to add 1 can, 14 ounces, 425 grams or 2 cups of pure pumpkin. Not pumpkin pie mix, but pure pumpkin with no seasoning. Whisk that in until your mix is nice and orange. To the wet mix, add in 2 cups, 240 grams of plain or all-purpose flour, 2 grams, half a teaspoon of salt, 4 grams, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 2 grams, half a teaspoon of baking powder, 4 grams, 1 teaspoon of cloves, 6 grams, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and about 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of nutmeg. I'm using freshly grated. If you wanted a little more warmth, you could also add in a teaspoon, 4 grams of ground ginger. Mix until you have no more little bits of flour left. Now that it's beautifully combined and wonderfully orange, let's pour it into our loaf tins. I like to use an ice cream scoop to scoop out my mixture because it makes sure each dough is the same size and weight. But you can just eyeball it. Smooth out the tops of your batter in your loaf tins. Now you can stop here and put it straight in the oven, but I'm going to go one step further and make a delicious crumble for the top.
The crumble topping makes this recipe so special. It's unlike any other pumpkin loaf and it really adds a lovely texture. But it is optional, so if you'd prefer not to have it, just leave it off. The cook times are exactly the same.
Into our bowl goes half a cup, 113 grams of melted butter, 100 grams, half a cup of light brown sugar, 150 grams, 1 1/4 cups of flour, 6 grams, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 gram, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a really healthy grating of that fresh nutmeg, about half a teaspoon or so. Whisk until combined and it will come together into almost like a cookie dough. We're going to crumble it all over the tops of our loaves. And into the oven.
This will need to bake for 60 minutes or until a skewer comes out clean. If you're doing this in a 2-pound tin, you'll want to cook it for at least an hour and a half.
You want these to cool to room temperature in their tins before tipping them out. The pumpkin makes this loaf so moist, and all of those spices make it deliciously warm and comforting. So get cozy with your favorite book, a nice comfy blanket, a pumpkin slice latte, and a slice of this loaf.
If you're a loaf lover, you have to try my air fryer banana bread with oven instructions as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.